Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. As I mentioned in my last video, it's time to pull out the silverware and set the table. So today we're going to do exactly that. Now take note, I have on my blue latex gloves and you see my empty glasses because today we're going to fill the cups with beverages. And when I say beverages, I mean beverages made of UV resin. Now, dolls, there are a lot of different ways to put beverages in your cups and glasses, but my preferred way is the UV resin. Now, I am just putting a little bit into a soda lid, and I'm mixing it with a little acrylic paint. Now, I'm trying to make it look like either wine or cranberry juice. So I'm using a little red and some navy blue and mixing it together really good so I'll get a nice smooth consistency. I did add a little bit more cardinal red to make it a little richer. It's almost opaque, dolls, but no worries, it'll work out. I just needed to give the impression of, again, wine or cranberry juice in the glasses. Now, if you prefer, you could make it a little thinner and use more resin, but I just left it as it was. Now you want to take your time and do this very carefully. This definitely took me way longer than this video, but you want to do drop by drop of your resin. Be careful not to spill it on the outside, and you don't want to drag it along the edges of your cup because that wouldn't look realistic because juices don't drag and run like that. So you just want to be really careful, have a steady hand, and drop your resin right into the center of your cup. Now, if you do have an accident or make a mistake and get it on the sides, just take the time to wipe it off with something really gently, maybe like a toothpick with some tissue wrapped around it, just something that'll swab around the edges where you make a mistake. But again, just take your time. Don't waste your resin. Don't get it on other things. And overall, just don't make your cups look sloppy, dolls, because that will make it really look unrealistic. Now, dolls, I did have several wine glasses that I wanted to fill, but to give additional realism, I didn't fill them all because I wanted it to make it look as though some of the dolls had drank some of their beverage and some of them hadn't touched it yet. So you want to do varied amounts in the different cups because if things look too uniform, that just doesn't look realistic. If you're having a big dinner party or a lot of people eating and drinking at different times, everything is not going to look the same. So try to vary the amounts in the different cups. Now, dolls, when I finished the cups, I actually had some more of those little styrofoam berries that I used on top of my cherry cheesecake. Now, dolls, if you haven't seen my video about my sweet potato pies and my cherry cheesecake, I will leave a link in the description where you can check out that video. So I used some of the wine-colored resin to drizzle over the top of my little cranberries to deepen the color and give them some shine and make them look a little bit more realistic. Now, dolls, as a little girl, my mother actually made real cranberry sauce. Here in my real life as an adult, I actually prefer the jelly, but in miniature, the individual cranberries looks more interesting. Now the cherries and the wine glasses are done, dolls, I wanted to go on and make some tea. I have several cups that I'm actually preparing for the Rooming House Cafe, and I wanted to fill these little clear teacups with resin that looked like hot tea. So I used the same process, I just used different color paint. Now this is acrylic paint as well. It's called Raw Sienna by Folkart. Now, dolls, use really small amounts of the acrylic paint because it's really thick and it generally gives a really dense, almost opaque look if you use too much. And because I was trying to make this look like tea, just a little dab went a long way. And you're using the same process, doing it drop by drop, being careful to drop it in the center and not get it on the sides or the rim of your teacup. And if you've never used UV resin, it's a pretty simple process. Mine is already pre-mixed. I will have a link in the description below. It's not the exact type I use. I couldn't find the one that I used. I've had it a couple years. But again, most of them work the same way, especially the pre-mixed type. For safety, make sure you use the instructions on the package. Now, I also went on to put tea in a couple more cups, again, just to add variation and variety to the dining room table. Now I did want to do a couple cups of coffee because with all the cake and pie and cheesecake, generally in our family, somebody always wanted some coffee to go with their dessert. So I did want to have that option on the table as well. So the same process, I just used the remainder of the wine colored resin and added some real brown paint to it, and it turned the wine colored resin into a coffee colored resin, and just dabbed it into a couple teacups and set it aside so it could be cured as well. Now that I was in the midst of all my fun, I realized I had ice cubes that I hadn't used, and I'm really glad I saw these before I cured my beverages. So I did put a few ice cubes into the iced tea cup and into a couple of the wine colored cups as well, because there's always somebody who wants ice in their beverage, regardless to what it is. And I did have a couple tall glasses that I decided to add clear resin to give them the impression that they were just glasses of water. And I just squeezed the resin directly into the cup straight from the tube because there was no need to add color. I just did a couple drops right into the cup. Now I stopped a little bit short because I wanted to add ice to a couple of these cups because I thought that would look really interesting. So I did a couple of them, and I do have one that looks like a big beer mug. And I did the same thing to it, just filled it halfway and then added the ice cubes. Now these ice cubes I purchased off of a website. I've had them for a while. I can't remember exactly where I got them from, but yeah, they sell them all over, dolls. But you can actually use some clear seed beads to look like ice cubes as well. So allow your imagination to lead you with ideas of what you could use to give the impression of ice cubes. Now that I'm all done filling all my little cups, I'm pushing things kind of together so that when I put them under the light to cure, they'll all fit at one time. And I'm being careful to give them room because I don't want anything tipping over. Now, dolls, my UV light was an old UV resin light that I use for doing my nails. And as you can see, I haven't done them lately, but it's because I have so much cooking to do. But it works really well for curing my resin, and I think that looks absolutely adorable. Now, there will be links in the description below of most of the materials I used for this project. And here's my little dish of styrofoam cranberries, and they look really nice with the resin cured on top. So let me just show you what I did, let you see how everything looks. And I did want to show you some additional food items that I didn't do a video on, but I just wanted to show you what I made to go on the table. So this is my bowl of dressing. It's just some chopped up polymer clay, and I added some little different colored clays to look like the seasoning and the other little vegetables. And here is my nice big bowl of macaroni and cheese. And I put it in those bowls with the gold trim as my serving dishes. And that's just a wooden stick stuck in there to look like a spoon. Now I also had a couple additional things that I made and set up specifically for the dining room table for Thanksgiving. Now these are the little blue and white plates I had, and I just added food, a little dressing, some macaroni and cheese, some greens, ham, and the turkey. So I did multiple plates. I did more on some, less on others. Again, just to give the variation of the portions. Now I did use a couple plates left over from the 1K celebration back in August. I will try to remember to leave a link to that video as well. So dolls, even though we have the china and the silverware and the wine glasses out, Thanksgiving at my house is not formal. Generally, because there's so many people there, everybody can't have a place setting. So generally, setting the table just means putting the food on the table so everybody can serve themselves. And here, dolls, I'm just giving you some close-ups of the dishes on the table that are ready to be served. Let me get out of their way and get back to my cooking. I can hear the dolls now getting ready for all their guests that are expected. I also want to wish everyone a happy and safe Thanksgiving. I want to encourage you, dolls, to focus on all the things that you have to be grateful for and to count your blessings, name them one by one. Now, dolls, if you've enjoyed this video today, definitely let me know in the comments. Also, like, share, and subscribe. And always look for me on Mondays and Wednesdays after 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye-bye now, dolls.